Hi everyone. I think it's already 1. Do we want to wait at all or do you want to get started? We can just start with intros either way. Okay.
Yeah, that works.
I can go first. So my name's Sarah. I am currently getting my SM60 in biostatistics at Harvard Chan. I'm originally from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I did my undergrad last year. I just graduated at UNC Chapel Hill, and I chose this program that I'm in because I thought it was a really great fit for the background that I was coming from. I was able to do biostats in undergrad, and so I had a foundation already, and I just wanted to get more technical skills before I entered the workforce. So this was a nice option for a short 1.5-year program where I could keep taking classes and do research before I dedicated myself to just going to work.
Yeah, and I could go next. So, hi everyone. I think my camera just zoomed out. But my name is Natalie Ezem. I am also a first year student in the Master's of Science, also known as the SM80 program in Global Health and Population. I'm Nigerian, but I was born and raised in Miami, Florida. I graduated almost 2 years ago from Duke University, where I majored in sociology and minored in global health and chemistry. And what really drew me to my program is I have a big interest in global health system innovation, specifically in targeting non-communicable diseases. So I was not only interested in the work that was being done in the global health and population department, but as well as the centers that were attached to the department and the faculty members that work here. So that is a little bit about me, and I'll pass it off to Sean.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sham, and I'm a first year master's student in the SM80 Global Health and Population Program. I'm Natalie's colleague here at Chan, and I actually just graduated last May from Cornell University with a degree in development sociology, which is what laid the foundation for my passion in addressing, I guess, and getting my master's today or here at Chan, and my passion in addressing societal changes, and particularly in the context of global health and development. So yeah, I don't want to speak too much about me, I guess. We'll dig right into the questions that you guys have. So just leave them in the chat and we'll hopefully get to them.
We could start with a question as you all think of, or I think one just came in. So the first one that I'm seeing is, if we already have a master's degree, can we get a scholarship to pursue this master's degree at Harvard? I would say that just depends. I don't think already having a master's degree would hold you back from getting funding, but funding is very much on an individual basis and pretty hard to come by for master's programs in general. And I think that's the best that I'm able to answer that. I don't know if anyone else has thoughts.
I agree. And I think any specific questions about your situation, you can direct them towards the financial aid office, and they'll be able to answer it. And you can get into more details, and they'll be able to provide you with more responses that are more detailed and tailored toward you that we're able to provide.
Yeah, just like what Natalie said, the availability and types of scholarships can vary. And so I also suggest reaching out to Harvard's financial aid office because they provide lots of information on the various funding opportunities that there are for prospective students. There aren't many, but you can look into you can do your own research, for instance, to um, um, look at grants or fellowships or work study positions, for instance. So yeah, but reach out to the financial aid office.
And this is just a really quick one to repeat what we're studying. I'm doing the SM60, or the Masters of Science 60, in biostatistics, and they were both doing the same program as well. If you want to repeat it, I can't remember the exact name.
It's the Master of Science in Global Health and Population, also the SM80.
Um, and the next one I'm seeing is how much an admissions committee would value mathematical abilities. Again, I think that would vary a lot program to program. Of course, I think MSs in general have a higher focus on quantitative backgrounds. And I know for my program, it's pretty important that you have some mathematical background and that it's usually a prerequisite that you've taken certain courses throughout your undergrad or whatever schooling you have done. And I'd say you are much stronger of a candidate the more math background you have, but of course everyone varies and is coming from different backgrounds. So as long as you feel comfortable that this is something that you could handle by looking through the course load, I think it would work out fine. And you could obviously figure out more talking to the department.
And I think something to quickly add to what Sarah said is make sure to check your department website. I don't know if this is true for all departments, but I know in the Global Health and Population program, I remember seeing that you had to have a B plus and I think a statistics course and a calc course. So be mindful of some of those requirements. I don't know if they have any special accommodations if you don't have those kind of scores, but just check the department or feel free to reach out directly to a contact person to ask if it's necessary for you.
Yeah, I agree with what both Sarah and Natalie discussed. Um, while a strong background in mathematical may not be like the primary focus, I think checking in with the degree requirements. For instance, me and Natalie both, most of our classes right now are math heavy, specifically our epidemiology classes and biostats classes. Yeah, I guess if you're looking into applying to this program, then having a background in math and statistics would be quite advantageous, I guess. Or if you're like still in college, maybe taking an introductory to an epi class or a biostats class would be really, really helpful. If you're looking to get a degree, for instance, in global health and populations. So yeah.
Definitely agree. And I do want to just quickly add to what Natalie said. I know that some programs I applied to, not this one specifically, I didn't meet the grade criteria that they stated for what I had to have had to apply for a prereq. And I emailed and they said it was fine anyway. So I wouldn't, if you see like, oh, you have to have a B and you didn't get a B, I wouldn't let that stop you. I would email, make sure it's fine that you still apply. Usually, I think in most cases it will be because grades aren't everything. So,
Yeah,
um,
and yeah, just last note is that the admissions office typically assesses, I would say, candidates holistically. So they would consider various factors such as academic achievements, relevant experiences, research interests, and personal statements. And in your application, it's not specifically having like a good grade in a math class, I guess. So yeah, they take everything into account. So it's not the sole determining factor, obviously. So yeah, just as long as you demonstrate proficiency for quantitative skills through your coursework, previous coursework or research experiences, then that will strengthen your application.
I think the next one that came in was about what our class schedule looks like and how our semesters are split up in terms of classes. I know other schools do this, but it was a little unique to me when I came to Harvard Chan is that there are some courses that you'll take that will be half semester long, and usually those are worth half the amount of a credit or half the amount of credits as a semester long course would be. So I'm in like half and half. Some of mine were half the semester and some were the full semester. And at a time, usually people are in, I would say like about 4 classes, if you're a full-time student. That's been my experience. I think it's not a super overwhelming workload, and you can definitely do research and work on the side, depending on how many classes you choose to take.
Yeah, and I think just to quickly add to that, it was very new to me as well. Generally speaking, they have fall courses, but they have fall 1 and then fall 2 as well. So some of your courses could fall into one of those 3 categories. And fall 1, I believe, is 8 weeks, and fall 2 is the second 8 weeks in the fall semester, and then Tyler fall courses will span that entire period of time. So that's a quick breakdown. If any of you are not familiar, then we also have winter session or J term, where I believe we have from the middle of December to almost the end of January off, where some people decide to take courses, some people decide to do work, some people work on their research practicums. And then we have the same setup for the spring semester, where it's spring 1, spring 2, but then the entire spring as well, and then it repeats.
Yeah, just like Natalie and Sarah stated, the structure of mandatory classes versus elective courseworks. And I guess I want to say all degree programs or the master's SM80 programs, which is what I'm familiar with, vary based on the specific requirements and curriculum changes. But having a mix of core or mandatory courses and elective options, they are a part of like the degree program, where like core obviously classes will cover foundational topics, and that's specifically your first semester as a master's student, where you tackle most of your core requirements, and then later on you have more autonomy into adding elective coursework into your schedule. And actually one really nice thing about Chan is that they like to enrich like your academic experience, and they want you to like broaden your skill set here on campus. And so they allow you to cross-register other schools like MIT or Tufts. And so the whole purpose of this is to not confine students to a single program, but to give them more flexibility or autonomy in building a class schedule, or cater to their interest and diversity of their coursework by tapping into the like offerings of like complementary disciplines that also give like a more holistic perspective of global and public health and population dynamics, which is like what I'm currently studying. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I do think most of the programs here are pretty flexible. I would say that was a big draw for me after you get your core classes out of the way, which for me, we only have like 5 required courses, and then the rest is all electives. So people who are even doing the SM80 and biostats, basically their entire second year is elective courses. And then I think a few of these questions that we're getting will go well together. We got why we chose an MS versus an MPH, and then also kind of the difference between the SM80 and the SM60, because some people have heard that the SM60 is for work and SM80 is for research. So I would say in general, people tell you that an MPH is better if you're more interested in kind of like a terminal degree, like you want to go and work after, versus an MS getting like a stronger theoretical background if you're interested in possibly getting a PhD or staying in academia. But it really, really depends on the program. And that's why I suggest just looking very closely at the specific program that you're interested in at the school and at any school. Because at Harvard, they don't offer an MPH in biostatistics. They offer, like you were saying, the SM60 and SM80. So since I was more interested in going to work afterwards, I'm doing the SM60. It's a little shorter versus the SM80, which people are taking longer classes, which is usually why it's better if you're interested in a PhD, because you're getting a stronger foundation through your coursework. So it really depends on your interests, but that's why I chose the specific program that I did and the SM at the school.
I think along a similar note is I had previous research experience and I knew I wanted to continue that trend. So that's mainly why I chose the MS degree over the MPH. As Sarah said, most people that are doing the MPH really get more, I don't want to say it like this, but more hands-on experience, more field experience, while those in the MS degree are doing far more research. or just getting more technical skills in that sense. This is answering another question as well about how many students are in the SM80 program. It does vary based off department, but it's roughly about 30 students that come in per class. I know the global health and population department is a little bit smaller this year, but on average, it's about 30 students that come in. But the MPH program is much bigger in terms of how many students they accept. So that's another thing to keep in mind, depending on who's in your class, how many students you would like to interact with at once, and getting that interaction with your peers as well as your professors.
Yeah, so an MS degree often like leans towards a more research-oriented path and delving deeper into academic research and specialized knowledge within like a particular field, while an MPH tends to be more practice-focused, emphasizing skills for applied public health work. And also, if you look at the degree requirements, it's more like technical stuff. The MPH Chan requires I think a 5-year fieldwork experience. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I'm a newly graduate, as I told you guys earlier, and so I obviously don't have that kind of work experience, and so yeah, my preference, I chose to apply to the SM80 program, but also like my preference for this program aligns with a desire for a research intensive program, which can be an excellent fit if you're aiming for a career in academia or research institutions, or pursuing further academic endeavors like a PhD. Yeah.
And then I think this is getting on another question that someone else just mentioned of, do you need to work 2 years before applying to the MPH? It depends. There is, I know on the prospective student website, I believe, or at least when I was applying, there was an entire chart that says how many years of work experience you needed post your undergraduate degree or your baccalaureate degree, for how much work experience you needed. So please, please, please be sure to check that. And also, please don't feel discouraged. Do reach out to someone in the department if you think you're not almost there yet, or you barely, or you're shy of the requirement. Talk to someone. Sometimes it's possible. I'm not sure, but I will always say reach out to someone and always ask, because you never know. But yeah, please be sure to check your department, because I know each department has different requirements.
I think this is a really quick question of whether or not applying exactly on December 1st would hinder your chances of getting in. No, as long as you're in before the deadline, it won't make any difference.
But one thing I will add to that, be mindful of the SOFAST system. Your application does need to be verified. I don't fully know the background and the timeline process of that, but I know that's something that made me nervous, where I submitted and then I didn't realize like verification would take such a long time. I got very nervous and I had to send a couple emails to make sure I was okay. But recommendation, don't stress at all. Just get it in early if you can.
I see a question, someone on the top of the questions list. Sorry, I'm going by orders, but someone said, I have a bachelor's degree in dental surgery from India and 5 published research papers. What are the chances of getting in? And your, I guess I want to say your achievements are incredibly commendable, because obviously they show your strong academic background. However, as an admissions ambassador, and I'm sure I can speak for both Natalie and Sarah on this, we don't have the authority to assess someone's chances of like admission to a specific program. And so because the admissions decision involves like various factors beyond like academic qualifications again, and we don't have the authority role. And so we do encourage you to reach out directly to the admissions office or other relative departments for more accurate assessments. I don't know if they'd give you like a probability or like a chance estimate of you getting in, but I think they would provide you with more insight into like the application and evaluation process. So hope that answered your question.
And just really quickly, if you are raising your hand, I don't think we have the ability to hear you, so we can only get to questions that are put into the Q&A.
And I think tackling the next question I see, which is what skills did you cultivate during undergrad before applying that set you up well for applying to the SM program? I can go ahead and get started with this. And I knew I was interested in research. I had in undergrad, I had done a lot of work related to different research projects and built up skills in that way. And then in addition to that, I did complete a senior's honors thesis that helped me realize that I was definitely interested in continuing this line of work and that kind of process. So I did that. And then as well, when I took a year off before starting my master's degree. So then I did work full time as a clinical research coordinator. I know that's not recommended for all, or that's not necessary, but for me, I felt like I had a lot of those background technical skills already that really made me strong and happy with the decision into pursuing a master's degree.
Yeah, I think, like I mentioned a little earlier, I was fortunate to go to an undergraduate university that had a school of public health, and they allowed us to be very involved in that. So I got a lot of exposure to the coursework, and I think that definitely helped me a lot to have a background in biostatistics prior to applying. I was also involved in some like a campus organization surrounding public health, and I think having leadership there helped me learn more about how to navigate public health spaces, and it allowed me to talk more about my passions in public health in my application, which I think is probably like one of the most important parts of applying to any public health degree, like saying why are you specifically interested in applying this skill set to public health? Because with a lot of these programs, you could be acquiring skills that you could apply in other areas. So it's important to show why, in particular, you're interested in health and what background you have that has led you to apply to a public health program.
Yeah, I just have a few things to add on to that. Well, based on my personal experience, I focused heavily on research as well during my undergrad years, which I believe is a valuable asset for the SM program. I also took part in a study abroad exchange program, which expanded my, I guess, cultural like adaptability and demonstrated my capability to thrive in diverse environments. And I feel like what, you know, coming into the public health school or the Chan school, you're meeting with many, people from different backgrounds. So I felt that that was very valuable. And also I talked all about that in my application here to Chan. So yeah, these experiences like collectively, like my research experiences collectively like equip me with the skills to, I guess, apply to sorry, I'm blanking out here at Chan, but yeah.
Yeah. Then looking at the next question, one individual wanted to hear more about the Global Health and Population Program and what the courses are like, and do we find it interdisciplinary? And where do we want to go in the future with this master's in mind? Honestly, the courses cover such a wide range of topics. I think from the moment we started, it was pretty interdisciplinary. Um, to give a brief summary, our fall one semester for Sham and I, we took courses in biostatistics, we took courses in epidemiology, let me not say courses, we took a course in biostatistics, a course in epidemiology, a course in economics, as well as a foundational course in global health and population. So I think right off the bat, you're covering so many different areas that are not just quote unquote typical for global health and population that you would imagine. So I know as we continue on in our degree, we do have some flexibility in the courses we do take. So if courses like that are required for the degree aren't in your interest, you could definitely branch out to different departments as well as different schools to take courses that more align with your interests. Either way, I definitely have noticed that it's quite an interdisciplinary field of study. And then keeping this in mind, where do I want to go personally with this degree? I know I'm going on to higher education, so I will either be pursuing an MD or PhD, potentially combined, but I know ultimately I do want to continue work in as a physician scientist in some capacity.
Yeah, I guess Natalie highlighted everything really well. The Global Health and Population Program offers a rigorous curriculum that dives really deep into like various aspects of public health. And the courses are quite interdisciplinary, drawing from like many fields, like Natalie stated, epidemiology, biostats, health policy, social sciences, for instance. And this approach has been quite enriching as it exposed me to diverse perspectives, um, and it is um, you know, also further enhancing my understanding of like the complex global health issues from multiple angles. And a lot of this is like things that I feel like as an undergrad who majored in development sociology or global development wasn't exposed to holistically like before. So I found this program to be quite eye-opening. Um, so yeah. And as for my future goals with this master's degree, um I don't know. I'm young and trying to figure life out. So before I applied to the master's degree, I was actually hoping to go directly into medical school. Sorry, I'm like probably like straying way off topic, but I think being at Chan just widened my perspective and the opportunities that are out there that you might not I guess be exposed to. And so yeah, right now my my future trajectories are changing. So I don't have an answer quite yet, but maybe soon.
And honestly, what Sham is saying is really true and validating because we have classmates that are working in such or that want to go on to such a wide variety of different fields, like working for the World Health Organization or USAID, or just going back to a continent of interest and working there in country specific and very community specific sectors. So there's so many different ways and places you can go, even though we're only able to share our perspective. Please be mindful that there's so much you can do with the degree. The sky is your limit, is what I have to say.
And I'm bouncing around a little bit, but somebody asked if it's difficult to find research opportunities, and then another person asked for biostatistics in particular, what research projects are currently available. So I'll hit on both of those. It is so easy to find research opportunities. I think if you are interested in working in a hospital setting, especially like since we are located in Longwood campus, right by all the hospitals, there's so many opportunities through there and through Harvard Chan. I think there's always opportunities being posted, especially within departments as well. I know my department is always sending out internships and research openings. And then if you don't see something you're interested in, you can always cold email a professor. And I know a lot of people that have gotten involved in research that way already, and it's only been a few months. So it's definitely very doable to find research if you're interested in that. And as for biostatistics in particular, they actually just sent out a list of a bunch of potential research projects that professors came forward and said they were interested in having a student get involved in. And they're so diverse. I couldn't really like list everything, but a lot of them are related to epigenetics and statistical genetics. Just like looking at it right now, I have the list in front of me. There's stuff on vaccine hesitancy. There's some social epi stuff. I think whatever you're interested in the realm of public health, you're going to find it here. And you'll find people who are open to you joining their team, or at least talking with you and helping you connect with people who do have research opportunities available. So that's been my experience with it. I think this is a great place if you're interested in research.
Yeah, just to add on very briefly, I am a first year master's student, so I haven't secured a position yet in a lab that I'm interested in, but because I'm trying to balance my coursework and it's been pretty stressful thus far. So I'm hoping to explore this option hopefully like next semester or the following year. But the finding research opportunities at Chan was incredibly accessible and supported. The campus offers a variety of like avenues and resources to empower students to engage in research, whether it's through faculty-led projects, department initiatives, or collaborations, like Sarah said, with various centers and the institute. So the opportunity is there, and I would actually highly encourage you to explore the official website of Harvard Chan, and specifically the department that you're interested in, because they also list out all of those resources and the labs that are currently that exist under these departments. And find one that you're interested in. You could even reach out to the lab coordinators or whoever is in charge to learn more about it, and maybe even like talk about it in your personal statement and how like it resonates with your previous experiences. So
And Sham, that was perfect because there was a question about how do you approach your statement of purpose and if there's any advice. I guess, is there anything else you want to quickly add to that?
wait, sorry, can you say that
Yes,
again? My
I put
computer.
you on the spot. But there was another question in the chat where it asked, how did you approach your statement of purpose? What advice can you give about the statement of purpose?
I guess what I did is I was very direct in my personal statement. I just listed everything that I've done, not everything obviously, but like very significant aspects of my undergraduate like career, and like the research that I've done, the research that I hope to achieve in the future, and just I guess show them that you're a good candidate. Like I know it's weird to say, but like you're supposed to advertise yourself to the admissions office or the school. And so you have to show them why you're a valuable candidate to Chen, and by and to do that, you need to tell them about the work that you've done and the work that you hope to achieve in the future. Yeah, I guess so. And that's that, because I know it's pretty limited. I think you have like one personal statement. Like you don't get a lot of room to talk about yourself. So just be direct, like tell them what you want to do. So
Yeah, I echo what Sham said. Be very intentional. That word count, it's not a lot. When I initially started writing my statement of purpose, I was well over the word count, and I had to revise so many times trying to pull out of what details are not important, what are the best attributes of myself that I can showcase in this limited word count. So, many people take different approaches to it. There's not one right formula that will get you in, or if there is, we don't know it. But essentially, when I wrote about it, I talked about my experience, what even drove me to the field that I'm interested. I talked about key things within my undergrad that really highlighted my skills and the interest of what I wanted to study. And then I also talked about the department itself. I knew I was interested in global health and population. So I had talked about, professors I wanted to work with, the centers that I saw on the website, and was like, it would be really cool. Like once I get in, I would love to work with this center. So it's things like that you can definitely try to incorporate in there. But yeah, be very specific and targeted about what you want out of this degree, why you want this degree instead of something else. Be clear about your intentions.
yeah, and just to add on to that, like I initiated my process like by first defining my priorities and outlining the specific features I saw in a program, for instance, or like I hope to learn in a program. And so I considered factors such as like the program's focus on interdisciplinary approaches, its commitment to practical applications and global perspectives. And so I guess that really helped me out a lot with writing my application and going through the official website for the program for the global health and population programs and learning about faculty and research helped me like I guess like find a lab that I was like really interested in, and I wrote about that in my application actually, and wrote about why it resonates with me and what I hope to do with this research lab in the future. And yeah, like, or you could again like research faculty and look at the work that they've done, and if it is something that you hope to pursue in the future, and then write about that in your application, I guess, like tell them that I want to work with this person, so, or in this lab. Sorry, I'm turning off, but yeah.
Yeah, I honestly don't have much more to add to that. I think those were great answers. And we're getting a lot of questions about like what the application process is like and what to do after. Someone asked what comes next in terms of financial aid. I think Harvard is pretty unique in that there is a financial aid application process that you have to do before you get admitted. It's really weird. It's a little annoying, admittedly. I think last year it was due on January 8th. I can't say for sure that it's the same this year. I would double check, but it does mean that you need to be thinking about financial aid pretty early on if you want to be considered for any aid. Like you have to get that application in. And so definitely keep that on your radar. And I will say that all of the opportunities listed there don't necessarily like exclude you from getting aid. Like if you feel like you're not really directly, or none of them are directly applicable to you, that doesn't mean that you won't get aid. I know for my department, it's very department based how they distribute the funds that they have available, and people were getting financial aid dispersed to them at different points after being admitted. So it depends a little bit by department, but for Harvard Chan in general, make sure you get the aid application in if you want to be considered for aid.
And then also, don't stop at Harvard as your only funding sources. And this is applicable to all schools. Look for other scholarships and resources outside of the school. I've definitely heard a wide variety of funding sources. Some people apply to country-specific, state-specific scholarships. Some people apply to scholarships that are organization-specific, like private funding versus like public organizations. Do a search on the internet of any scholarship and apply to all of them. If you do end up winning multiple, I know sometimes the school has discussions about how much this organization can give you, how much this organization can give you, but it doesn't hurt. I think your best bet is just applying to as many. And then if you get one, congratulations, you have funding. That's my recommendation of don't stop there. And then also the Harvard financial aid website, or I think either the School of Public Health, there's a link there somewhere where they have a list of scholarships that you could apply to. It has like links and deadlines. So also be sure to check that out. Be mindful that some of the scholarships are not through the school. So it does require you to be on top of those external links and those different websites. But be sure to check out stuff like that after you submit your application, or currently, like right now, while you're submitting application, because I know that can affect a lot of people's decisions.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe when we had to fill out our financial aid application, there was an opportunity where you could apply for like I think it was, I'm not sure if it was a grant or like a specific scholarship. And it was like you just had to like write like a statement. I think it was like maybe like 300, 400 words, and they just like automatically like applied you to like some sort of like fund or scholarship. I don't remember exactly, but the opportunities are there, and definitely don't limit yourself to just Harvard's network, but explore other scholarships as well. And I see the very top question in the chat says, why did you decide on Chan versus other schools? Well, I'm not gonna delve into like so. The number one thing is the first thing that I would like to say is that my degree program again leans towards a more research-oriented path, which is what I'm interested in. Like I want to delve deeper into academic research and specialized knowledge within the global health and populations field. But number two, and I think this is pretty like my favorite aspect about Chen is that like the ability to connect with global leaders on a personal and professional level is a tremendous asset here on campus. And it's also the reason that drew me to my program. My program, as Natalie previously stated, is pretty intimate and nuclear with only about like 19 students. It varies every single year. So although you might think that's remarkably strong, we're all pretty, I want to say tight knit, like we all know each other. So and we work with each other in groups like we've so and we have the same classes every single day. So we're stuck with each other pretty much. But like the smaller cohort size honestly allows for a more personalized and immersive learning experience. And I know it may vary from department to department, but yeah, I think the opportunity for each student to actively engage within coursework, faculty, and colleague is pretty advantageous, because not only does it enhance like your learning experience, but also opens doors for mentorship and personalized guidance, like creating a supportive environment for everyone for everyone's academic and professional development. Like my in our main foundational global health and global intro to global health class, our the teaching team and the professors, we've gotten pretty close to them, and they've they've become more like friends, I guess. So it's pretty nice having that here on campus. So yeah, and coming from a school or where most of my classes I feel like were pretty large, and so like that the ability to connect with professors was slightly hard. So yeah.
Yeah, I think Sham covered everything. Yeah, I guess we are in a similar program, so she did mention a lot of the reasons why I decided to join. I guess, Sarah, is there anything that you can say about your department?
Coming from a biostats department, I guess I didn't know this going in, but I will say my experience so far has been that compared to the program that I was at before, I do feel like I'm getting a much more solid understanding at Chan, and all of these like required core courses are so helpful. Like they don't have many required courses, but the ones that they do have, you're taking them and you're like, oh, all of this is really important, and I'm really glad that I'm getting like a super, super strong foundation. And I know when I came to Chan, I think there was a question similar to this, but I did speak with other admitted students, and that was super, super fundamental in me making a decision between the programs that I was deciding between, because all of them just loved it here so much. They loved the program that they were doing, and I was like, okay, this seems right for me. They were interested in similar things as me, and they had great experiences, and that solidified it a lot for me. So I would suggest of course, it's really great to go to events like these and talk with like admissions staff as well, or faculty in your department. But I think talking to alumni or current students is so great when you're looking at the specific program that you're in. And it's super easy to reach out and say, hey, can you please connect me with any student in my program who could talk to me? And they will connect you. Like it's very easy. So that helped a lot for deciding on Chan. And since we have like 15 minutes left, I've been going through and answering some questions just in chat that are more specific to program. I've been trying to hit all the ones on health data science because I'm not in that program, but it is in the same department as me, so I know a little bit about it. But if you asked program specific questions, we might just be answering them in chat also. So I would keep an eye on that just for the sake of time.
I guess I'm skipping around as well, but I know there's a couple of questions in the chat about the actual SoFast process. I know everyone's experience with that application platform is different because there are different requirements you need, especially for language, educational, credit conversion, all that kind of stuff. I will say sometimes the rules and processes change every year. So please be mindful of that and look at the SoFast website directly. Check their deadlines, check any details. If they contact you, read those emails quickly. I did have that situation where one of my credit conversions at my school, I did not convert right. So I had to make that correction. Don't be like me, follow the instructions. And if they do reach out to you, just quickly be on top of fixing that. I know one individual in the chat had asked the verification process. I know it does vary. I think last time when I did it, it was 4 to 7 days, something like that. It takes a while. I don't entirely know exactly if that will collide with the deadline, the December 1st. I will always say maybe reach out to the school to see whether or not it's okay if you submit it later on. I know sometimes the process takes a while, especially if you have additional requirements. So in these special situations, don't hesitate to reach out to the school or maybe try to reach out to SoFast to see if you could learn any more additional information. And then if anyone else is seeing anything they want to add as well about the SoFast process, please feel free to jump in.
Yeah, I would say as long as you're hitting that deadline, December 1st, for most schools, that'll be good enough. If you still haven't been verified by then, it's usually going to be fine and it'll be done in like a couple weeks max. I know I was super stressed about that, but it's fine. Like I just made sure that with each program that I was interested in, I knew their deadline was the deadline that it said and not like a different hidden deadline. Which I think Emory might be like that. I'm trying to remember what other schools, but Harvard Chan's not like that. So just get in by the deadline. It's always great to be early, especially because I think someone asked about if you're scared that your recommender um, might not get theirs in on time. I would say that's a different case. Definitely have backup options if you feel like you've been reminding a person a lot and it still seems like they might not. I guess the deadline's coming up pretty soon. If you haven't really gotten a solid answer that they're going to get it in soon, I would start looking for other options just in case, because it couldn't hurt to have that backup. And it's like a little harder to work around if you're not getting in by that deadline with your recommendation. So
I see a question in the chat about the GRE, and I know I've been asked this before actually multiple times. But while I cannot definitively say whether your GRE score specifically helps in the admissions process, I can share my personal experience, and I didn't take the GRE for admission. So my suggestion for you would be to reach out directly to the admissions office program coordinators for more accurate and up-to-date information on the significance of the GRE scores in the admissions process. But yeah, I didn't take it, so, and I'm here.
yeah, I also didn't take it. I like Sham said earlier, we don't speak for the admissions department, but I will say there is a general trend that GRE is less heavily weighed than it was a few years ago across grad schools in general. I know many people that didn't take it, and they're here. So I decided it wasn't worth it for me. You can decide on your own whether or not you think you need maybe to show like a more quantitative background if you don't have it in your coursework or something, or if there's some reason that you would want to show those test scores that it wouldn't show up in your application otherwise. I think that'd be a good reason, but otherwise don't stress too much. Or if you take it and you don't like your score, don't submit it. I know it's not a big deal.
Someone said, is it required? Is it mandatory to take elective classes as part of graduation requirements? Yes, because there is so you need to meet the minimum 80 credit requirements for my degree program. And a lot of those credits come from elective courses, and a lot come from foundational core courses. So yeah, it is I guess they want you, they encourage you to take elective courses and explore other fields and cross-register on other campuses. So yeah. And I think personally, I think it's pretty beneficial because I took a few elective classes this semester and I've enjoyed all of them. And I've learned a lot from them. Some of them were even I favored more than my foundational core classes. So I think having a balance of both will carry you through the semester and give you something to look forward to, I guess, in classes, and uplifts your class schedule by having something interesting that you're interested in rather than, like the strict foundational courses, because they can be quite rigorous. I mean, they are. So yeah.
And just to quickly hit on some rapid questions, are all of your classes in person? All of our classes are in person. I know after the COVID-19 pandemic or post-COVID-19 pandemic era, I think there's been a greater push for classes to all be in person. I know there are some flexibility with courses by providing recordings or a Zoom option, but it's starting to become less and less common. In addition to that, I know some folks were asking about class size. It does vary. Some of the courses like biostats and epidemiology, especially those foundational courses, they're huge classes. I know epidemiology has 150 students in it. They also have 2 sections for it as well. So there's quite a big class for that. But in our foundational courses, like in the Department of Global Health and Population, it's such a smaller class size. Like our foundational course that Sham and I both have to take is 19 students. So it's quite a bit of variability between which course you take. It just depends on whether or not, it just depends on the topic as well as how many students need to take it or are interested in that topic as well.
And I'll also just quickly answer a lot of people seem to be interested in health data science. And whether or not that's a newer program, it's newer than the biostatistics program, but I don't think it's particularly super new. Of course, HDS is growing a lot, just like in the world. So that we are getting like more interest, and I think the program is growing. But I would say one of the main differences between biostats and HDS, if you're trying to decide between them, is biostats is a lot more stats focused. We have more required stats courses, whereas HDS has more required computational like programming courses. So you'll be taking a lot of the same classes as us. I have HDS people in like all of my core classes, but some are not required. In some cases, you'll have to be taking like a programming course that a biostats person might not be taking. So they are very similar. I would look more specifically at the course requirements and the department website for biostatistics to look specifically at the difference between biostats and HDS if you're trying to decide.
And I think someone mentioned something about accommodations. I'm guessing they are talking about like the accommodations office, Harvard Chan. But I do want to say that they and also I feel like this is something that all students should know because they come in like with this misconception that there isn't anyone that you could reach out to here on campus when you're dealing with like health complications, for instance. But I do want to say that the Harvard Chan office is incredibly supportive and proactive when it comes to ensuring the students' well-being. And honestly, like I'm gonna speak on from personal experience, so I'm gonna be really personal here. But I was recently diagnosed with tendonitis from all of the typing that I do here on campus. So in my hands, and so they've been pretty accommodating with my condition, and their assistance was instrumental in ensuring that I could navigate my coursework without compromising my health. Yeah, like they will provide you with a tailored accommodation that alleviates any challenges imposed by your conditions. And yeah, don't be afraid to reach out if you do end up here and you need help. So yeah, you're not alone.
Just to emphasize what Sean was saying as well. I know someone had asked about for couples as well. I don't know specifically, but I do know that some people are able to maintain their relationship while they're here. I know that even here there's on-campus housing through Shattuck International House, and you are able to apply for certain housings as a couple or partnership. I do know they have some specific requirements, so I would definitely check out the website to look more into that. But I know some people who are in the School of Public Health that have families. So if that's something you are concerned about, I know they have a support group. There's different resources that you can look into, but it does vary depending on your resources and needs. And I don't know if you have any more specific questions, but just to speak generally about that.
Sorry, we're trying to like get to all these final questions. HGS and biostats, if they differ in difficulty, I really can't speak to that too much. I would say no, but I did answer this a little earlier. HGS, I've noticed that it seems like more people are coming from industry, have a bit more applied experience compared to biostats, where most people I know either came straight from undergrad or didn't take much time off in between. I couldn't give you a particular reason for that, but in terms of difficulty, I would say they're probably on par, but I am not the expert on admission rates in general or how many applicants they're getting. And if anyone does have questions that we aren't able to get to, unfortunately, I'll leave my email. If it's biostats, the department in general, I can probably answer that a little better. Otherwise, I might have to direct you to the admissions website or admissions staff, but I'll leave it below in the chat in case anybody wants to reach out after.
Same here. I will put my email in the chat, but one last thing, because I know a lot of you guys are talking about admissions and research experience, and some of us, you know, have, you know, other experiences more than like certain research experience. But like, I just wanted to say that like someone wrote that they don't have any research experiences, but they do have numerous industry / corporate exposure. And yes, that is incredibly valuable. And I think by talking about that in your application, it can offer a unique perspective that complements the academic environment here at Harvard Chan. So while research experience is often highlighted as valuable, I think admissions are about presenting a holistic view of yourself and how your experiences, whether in research or industry, contribute to your potential as a student. And yeah, I guess if you talk about your industry background and how it brings in real world insights and practical knowledge to the table, and how your experiences have also shaped your understanding of healthcare, problem solving, for instance, and your perspective in addressing like challenges within the industry, then that I don't see why that wouldn't significantly strengthen your application. So yeah, emphasize how like your exposure to different fields sparked your interest in furthering your academic studies and how it aligns with your goals. Like again, it's about articulating the relevance of your experiences and how they have prepared you to excel in programs here at Chan. So yeah, just keep in mind admissions are multifaceted. You don't need like lots of research experience. While it's valuable, just diversity in experiences and perspectives enriches the academic environment. So yeah, and I think we are out of time. But any final thoughts from my colleagues?
I don't have much else to add, but thank you all for your wonderful questions. Again, as we said before, our email's in the chat. I believe Sham's also going to add hers. But yes, if we couldn't answer any question you had today, or if you have more departmental or admissions question, yes, please feel free to reach out to us or the admissions office directly or departments directly. But we wish you the best of luck and good luck on submitting your application.
Yep, good luck.
Good luck. And I think maybe like give them like a minute or two, maybe to get the emails down. Hopefully everyone got them down. But I hope everyone enjoyed this panel. It's our first one, or it's my first one actually, as a first year
Same.
student. So hopefully we did a good job in answering everybody's question.
Thank
Okay.
you, everyone. I'll go ahead and end the Zoom meeting. Take care, everyone.
Bye.